Hello again, everyone. I'm Joe Pryweller, Conference Director for Tire Business. Welcome to Tire Business Ask the Expert. This live stream series is your chance to engage with professionals on the current business environment and to interact with questions. Today's Ask the Expert is hosted by Molloy Sales Development Group. With us today are Dan Molloy, President and CEO of Molloy Sales Development Group, Jeff Tucker, owner of Triple T Tires and inventor of Taps Pay, and Neal Maier, partner with 3VE Marketing. We will discuss why the tire industry must change and how new approaches have opened the door to dramatically increased productivity. Our presenters will answer your questions after the presentation. To submit a question, email tbevents@crane.com, or if you're watching along on Tire Business's LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube accounts, submit your questions through those platforms. With that, I will turn things over to Dan Molloy and Neal Maier. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
We're absolutely thrilled to be here today, working with Tire Business Magazine and with all the dealers out there. You know, the three of us have banded together to help dealers. I mean, that's what we do. We're here to help dealers grow. Next slide, please, Kristen. So we decided to look at, with everything going on in the world today, if you want to grow your business, you've got to change. To stay stagnant with everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah, we've had a lot of forced changes, but these are changes we want to make now. So it's what we want to talk about.
Yes. So it's you're in the right place if you want to change your business. We're gonna talk about it from different points of view. All the things we got to change. Next slide, Kristen. The three of us have banded together, like I said, and we put together a program. I'm calling it the Molloy process. We're going to touch on it a little bit. But going forward for the next 15 or 20 minutes, each of us is going to talk about the changes that we see that need to be made, right, in order to really change your business and in the process, change the industry. And that's what we're doing. Okay, next slide. My background, I was an owner of a 104-store chain called ProCare up in Ohio. Over the last 20 years, I've invented two things. One called Power Sales Training. It's a communications training program, really. And something called the Language of Commitment, which is the foundation for everything that I do. And it's the foundation for what I call the three-step process, the Molloy process for growth. Okay, next slide, please. Jeff Tucker was a client of mine, and he's become a business partner. We partnered on a program he developed, he invented, called Taps Pay, which is a brilliant program. It's a payment plan solution for service advisors. And Jeff knows my opinion. I call him the professor of payment plans because he knows more about payment plans and financing than anybody. And he's also a dealer. Right, he owns 3 stores in Tennessee. And Neal, next slide. Neal was a client of mine 15 years ago, and he also was a dealer. He owned 2 large stores in the Raleigh market, one with 14 bays, one with 10 bays. He sold his business to his partner to pursue his true passion in life, which is to run an advertising agency, which he's done for many years now. And he's a part of this triad, if you will. An expert with a passion to help dealers with their advertising and marketing needs. Next slide. So from a communication standpoint and a commitment standpoint, which is my area of expertise, next slide. Here's why I say dealers need to change. Retail tire closing percentages, this is for on calls for new tires, is only about 30% nationwide. I know this because I measure it every day. 30%. That means 70% of the time, the customer says, "Oh, thank you very much." They get the price or other information. They're on their way.
I'll let you know.
Right. Another big thing, and I experienced this myself when I had 100 stores. Right. taking money out of your pocket to give it to somebody like Neal. I totally trust Neal, but I'm talking back in the day when I would take $25,000 out of my pocket, money that was in my pocket, and go to the advertising people and say, look, I need more cars, and I want more phone calls, and I want more foot traffic. And rarely, then you go to church and you pray that you're going to get your money back, at least. It's scary. Am I right, Jeff?
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's a scary thing to do, right? So that's one reason things have to change, because we want to do away with that fear. We want you to be able to work with somebody like Neal without fear, that with the knowledge that you're going to get your money back and then some. Okay. Another reason the industry must change is I've been studying and researching and working with dealers for the past 20 years all over the country. Many of them have a strategy. The only strategy they have is one of price, and also giving away freebies for all kinds of services. Matter of fact, we've done lots and lots and lots of webinars over the last 4, 5, 6 years. The one we did, the biggest webinar we did that had over 300 dealers sign up for it, was one titled Price Wars, the Race to Zero. There's got to be a better way. So the need for change. And what I have, the last bullet point, is poor communication. And I'm certain if any of you have listened to calls coming into your own business and you just scratch your head and you go, why did people say that? Well,
put your head in your hands.
It's painful.
Painful, exactly. So I can remember, not that people are bad, but here's how I couch this problem, okay, how I frame it. When I had the ProCare operation, we had 1,000 employees when we bought the business, all good people. That's not the issue. The issue was, as a company, we had standards for safety. We had standards for how to handle environmental issues. We had standards for how to handle pricing and technology and all that. When it came to communication, which, as Jeff said before, is the foundation, all we have is our ability to communicate with each other. That's it. And so we had 1,000 employees show up every day, and everybody had a different idea and a different way of communicating. So one of the ways we need to change is to establish clear standards for effective communication. And that's one of the things we do with my power sales training and the language of commitment. That's another topic. But these are the four things I came up with, reasons why dealers must change. So I want to toss it over to Jeff now, and he could tell why in the domain of money and finance and payment plans. What has to change, my friend?
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Let's go on to the next screen, next slide there. In our whole strategy and how we go to market, as using TapsApp, and TapsApp was designed around being a tire dealer and trying to get past the price conversation. And right now, as an industry, because I've seen this in multiple other industries, this same type of thing, and we're very, very, very poor at handling price and the finance conversation in our industry as compared to a lot of other industries in the retail sector. So most of us offer finance as the last ditch effort to save the sale. So that's our number one problem. We have to change how we approach that whole concept. It should be a way to make a sale, not a way to save a sale.
Oh, Jeff, when you talk about that, I think about how you teach your guys, right, and how we work with them. We sell tires, we do big jobs, we do alignments, and we have money for you. It's like right up front, you handle it, that you have payment plans available in the very first instance. It's beautiful.
In our training, in the first 15 to 20 seconds, we handle what most of our calls are about, which is time and money. We handle both of those things before we're even asked about it. We handle both of those issues. But the key is changing the conversation to change how we approach payment plans in general, but also handle the questions that sometimes they don't really want to ask us. They might have a price question, but it really means they have a money issue.
Yes.
So we're able to handle that money issue there. So that's where our strategy changes. So we have a strategy to go to market, and if you want to just price everybody over the phone and just be the lowest price, that's great. if you're set up for that. But most of us as independents, especially, are not set up to be the lowest priced person. And quite frankly, I don't know that we want to be the lowest price, because we don't have to be. We're usually providing above average service, so we really don't have to be lowest price.
And this may be a part of what Neal wants to talk about, but I've observed since we've been in the digital age for the past 50 years that the deeper and deeper and deeper we get into the digital age, the more and more and more and more and more it becomes about price everywhere.
That's right. Especially when Neal shows you this stat later, you'll see how much different our industry has changed in the past 2 or 3 months. But if we change how we're approaching these sales in the beginning, when they call and ask for price and understand what the consumer's asking, they're asking for help. We're problem solvers by nature. We fix cars. We figure out what's wrong with a tire. We do all this for more prices instead of handling what is actually their issue, which is money.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, Jeff, is that, when they call about price, we can leave that conversation at price and it will stay about price, and it will end on price. Or if we're skilled with how we communicate, we say, I'd love to talk price with you, but let me first tell you, my only job in life is to become your car guy, Jeff, to take care of it, no matter what. When you have a check engine light on, you have a flat tire, you have something going on with your vehicle, you can count on me to take care of you. So my point is, you change the conversation, like politicians pivot on issues, right? You have to call on the inner politician, right, to change. But it's really, it's a move you have to make. This is what I'm talking about, change. And this is why Jeff and I are working together. We have to change the conversation by using linguistic skills.
Communication is the baseline of all of this.
Yeah.
But then lastly, we limit ourselves by advertising or turning on the fire hose from certain areas of our cities, because we think that those people are our customers, but yet we sometimes believe that, our customers don't need financing or payment methods, right? Well, it might not be that you're customers because you haven't opened yourself up to include those people.
Yes.
So this will segue right to Neal, and we want to change how we approach advertising. And what TapsOut does is open up your ability to advertise to everybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
You're not limited by that. So Neal, take it from there.
Sure. And Jeff, I think it's worth mentioning too that the tire industry is one of the last to firmly embrace the ideas behind payments and financing. The furniture industry is a leader in it. But even when I walk into the vet, I have a finance option.
The furniture industry is probably doing tenfold of what we are as an industry. So they really get it. They understand what it is, and they understand why they're going, out first with it. They get it. And so I feel like we have a big opening there to really make a difference in our industry.
But most dealers I know have some form of payment plan. They have a credit card or something like that, right?
Right. But without a system to use it and an approval rate that says, hey, I got a very, very good, a 9 out of 10 chance that I can make $2,300 available for this customer, then it's like, well, I done it 2 times last week for somebody else and it didn't work, so I'm not even going to offer it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the perfect segue into the need for change when it comes to marketing. It's nothing new to tire dealers that competitive pressure comes at you from every direction. Over the past couple of years, everybody's in tire business now, and where you used to be able to count your competitors on one hand, now it's difficult to even wrap your mind around how many different options consumers have to buy tires. COVID has driven this even in a further downward direction, with work from home becoming ever more popular. The fewer miles driven, tires aren't wearing out at the same rate, and regardless of what you want to do every Monday morning when you open the doors to your shop, you can't go out and wear out tires. So you can't drive demand. The only thing you can do is fight for market share of the number of tires that are going to be sold today in my city. How many of them do I have the opportunity to sell?
You know what, Neal? It's just as you're speaking, I'm thinking that it can't be about when a customer calls you and says, how much is a set of tires for my F-150 or whatever, right? That's the question. You can't leave it about the tires. It's got to be, because of what you're saying, it's got to be about a much bigger relationship. It's got to be about you taking care of all their vehicles, all their trucks, all their cars. But no, as long as you're in the area, it has to be that you're going to be their ultimate car guy. That's a commitment. The commitment.
That's exactly right.
Much bigger relationship.
It is, and we all know that a tire sale is a much bigger picture than just the price of the tire.
That's my point. Yes.
It's a complicated process of a complicated purchase. So until you have the opportunity to actually talk with the caller or the person standing in front of your counter, that opportunity really is there for you to sell yourself. And that leads over into branding. If each morning when you open, if you're not prepared and know it by heart why you're better, why you're different, and it's not documented inside your organization, it's impossible for the rest of your staff to be on the same page and to be able to show people why you're different. You're successful. You've gotten this far for a really good reason. So it's worth taking a minute and identifying what that is. Why are we better than the competition?
Neal, I love working with you guys because you trigger thoughts, right, all the time together. As you're speaking, I'm thinking, it's like as it relates to the language of commitment and what I teach, the most powerful thing a human being can do, in my opinion, is to articulate what they're committed to. And so how I'm reading this is your branding. You come into your business every day. So say you're the owner operator, right? And you have a commitment to help people in a particular way. The game is to be able to articulate that so clearly in all your advertising and marketing, of course, and video, but be able to articulate what you're committed to on every single phone call and every single customer interaction. That's the key, my opinion.
That's absolutely it. It's if you look at the successful dealers nationwide, every one of them knows what it is that makes themselves different.
Right.
Better.
Right on. Yep.
Right. Next slide, please. So something that we really ought to think about in terms of change, e-commerce, retail e-commerce sales have grown at a rate of about 1% per year, going from 6 to 16% of all of our retail transactions over the last 10 years. In an 8-week period, during the peak of the pandemic, grew from 16 to 27%. We had a decade of e-commerce growth in just a period of 8 weeks.
That's unbelievable.
The thing we all have to understand is the marketplace has changed. It was changing, but it was changing slow enough that we could all kind of roll with the punches.
Yeah.
But almost overnight, it changed, and to a great degree, we shouldn't expect it to change back.
I don't think it will snap back. I mean, maybe it may come back some, but I don't think we're going to see. I think we're going to have to change with it.
Yeah,
exactly. I can order nearly anything I want online and have it overnight. Now that I can order a takeout meal deliver a meal delivered from my favorite restaurant, and it costs just a few extra dollars to have it delivered to my doorstep. Once the pandemic's over, I'm not going to go back to driving across town to go pick up my meal. So a lot of this has to do with
I don't know.
convenience.
We could debate that. I'm like, I got to get out of the house, man. I just got out.
Sure.
But here for the last 6 months.
Well, I think a lot of it, though, you take it back to the convenience side and look at the fact that the marketplace has changed. if I can't go schedule an appointment online to bring my car in, I'm going to be resentful of it, because now I can even do that with my doctor. And if the medical industry has called up to all of this, it's a sure sign that the tire industry absolutely has to embrace this.
Yes.
Especially when they realize that, oh, it's easy to do this and buy tires online. Oh, and look, they have a payment option too, but yet you're not offering that. If they call in or they visit the store, we're not offering that. And they've seen that when they've done some research. Now all of a sudden they're like, well, maybe it'd just been easier if I'd done it online, because I can guarantee you all of your online tire guys are offering a payment solution other than paying full right then. So
right.
if we're not in that race, then we're going to be left behind.
I think it's unfair to expect a consumer to be ready and willing to make $1,000 purchase of a new set of tires without any sort of preparation. So if you think about the shops who are full service, that shock and awe when you walk back out during an oil change to tell your customer that oh yeah, by the way, you've got to have a set of tires.
Right.
I think it's only fair that you present them with the same kind of care you would if you were explaining an engine repair, right? You've got to give them the education and the tools to allow them to make the decision that's right for them. And I feel like that's what makes you different, right? That's what separates your shop from the rest.
And as Jeff said before, it's all about the communication. We've all had the experience of somebody doing that to us, Neal, coming back and say, well, you need this, you need that, you need a new battery, you need a new. They don't present it in a way that makes any sense. That's easy for the customer. They just blurt out, you need a set of tires, and if you don't have the customer ready to go, prepared, and you haven't worked with them and they don't understand what you're all about and what your commitment is all about to help them and take care of them, then when you make those kind of just offers that don't make any sense, that it's more like hitting the customer with a 2x4 up topside the head than it is seducing them into using your company so they could get on the road and go on with the rest of their life. And they're like put up the roadblocks.
Right.
We don't want that to happen. So
I agree completely.
We could talk about all the need for change for the next 2 hours. Could we have the next slide, please? So here, just to recap on what we're doing here, the three of us, right? We've woven together what I call the Molloy process. It's a 3-step process, right? Very simply, fix the language first. The communication is at the foundation of everything that we do. So we fix the language in 2 ways. One, the sales and enrollment language, appointment language, like that. And the other is with Jeff's program, the TAPS app, the language of money, the language of payment plans, the language of financing. You've got to get that down. So once those 2 are handled, and we measure that, we know how to measure that, then you can invest all your money with somebody like Neal without fear, because your people aren't going to be turning business away by accident, like I discovered in the old days. Lots of it's happening all over the country by accident. So if you're interested in learning more about the 3-step process, just go to molloysales.com, and on any page on the website, at the bottom of the page is a link that you could request a no-charge strategy session with myself, with Jeff, with Neal. We'll share with you what the process is all about. And without further ado, I want to throw it back over to Joe, and Joe can let us know if there's any questions that anybody might have.
Great. Thanks, guys. I'll take that catch. You're throwing it back to me. And I want to remind people that you can submit a question via email at tbevents@crane.com. Down the bottom of your screen there, you'll see that. Or if you're watching via the LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube platforms on Tire Business, you can also submit your questions through those platforms. And actually, our first questions come in through the LinkedIn platform. This is a comment and a question here. Since price is a driving force now more than ever, how can you deal with the paradox of having well-known brands that are substantially more expensive than less-known brands, which can perform equally as well? Is there a way that you can deal with some of that? If I guess the first part is price really the driving force behind the sale?
Well, I'll speak a little bit to that. If price is in the question of as they approach the sale, then you can handle the price by handling the money. And if you break the money down in a payment option for them, and you compare a lower price tire to a major brand that's more expensive, then you're talking about dollars different for a better tire versus hundreds of dollars difference for a better tire. So it's a different strategy to allow them to say, well, I can't afford the $1,000, but I can pay $50. So you're changing the price concept in their heads because they don't know what you have to offer. So when you approach the sale as if, hey, I'm not giving you a $1,000 problem, I'm giving you a $50 solution with one of our payment plans with or without credit if you'd like to take advantage of that. And that's what you have to say.
The other thing in conjunction with, and why Jeff and I are partners in this thing together, is that because then you also have to realize that a customer calling for price on tires or any type of auto repair, price is really important, yes, but it's never the number one issue. It can't be the number one issue. The number one issue is that there's something wrong with their car, or they need tires because they can't go on a hunting trip or a fishing trip. They can't go visit grandma at the nursing home. They can't take the kids to school. When their car isn't working or they need a set of tires, the tires aren't good, their life is on hold. That's the number one issue, that the life is on hold. And then price comes into it. Obviously, it's mission critical. Right. But the first point is you got to talk to how you're going to keep them on the road, how you are going to be their car guy, and how you're going to be their pit crew, that they never have to worry about ever being stuck or without a vehicle or whatever. As long as they know you, if they have a problem, you're going to take care of them. And regarding the tires, I'm going to help you today. I'm going to take care of it for you today. And I have payment plans starting at only $20 with or without credit if you want to take advantage of that. So we handle the time issue, we handle the commitment issue, and we handle everything right up front in the first 30 seconds. And listen, some people may still come back to price and say, hey, but how much, right? Well, at some point, you're going to have to get in and talk about price, perhaps. It's no way around that. But what we've discovered, Joe, it's a great question. What we've discovered is if you handle it according to the way we're describing, that 90% of the time, you don't have to get back into price. Because they realize that what they want is they want the car on the road, and they want it on the road today. And they want a fair price.
And you've actually committed to help them do that. So
say that again, Jeff.
And you've actually helped to commit that you've committed to help them do that.
Yes.
To get to the road.
Yeah.
I do think, just quickly on the same thread, though, it is worth mentioning, if you have a customer or a caller who's driving towards a brand name tire, or is brand conscious, the thing to do there is have that conversation, get to understand what it is they're looking for. So if I'm loyal to a particular brand, fantastic. It's your job to help them. If they're not, it's your job there to guide them into what makes the most sense. Regardless of price, what makes the most sense for their driving and their vehicle.
Yes.
Great. That leads to a point too. I know that Neal mentioned is differentiating your brand. I know they're calling you. You're not just talking about price. You're talking about a way that you're the one they want to go with. What are some ways you can go about that, Neal, about differentiating your brand?
There are a ton of different areas for differentiation, but one of the most common comes down to your brand, also your service, and if you think about the experience, right, in working with your company, we typically advise our clients to try to stay away from price because someone's always going to come in lower, and we try to stay away from product as well because someone's always going to build a better mousetrap. So being that we're all in the service business, I think it's incumbent on us to be able to identify why we're successful. And price may be a part of it, but the ideal mix here is to come up with a couple of different differentiators.
Yes.
If you come up with two, a little bit harder to beat, come up with three. That seems to be about the ideal mix, where it's really hard as a competitor to step in and say, yeah, I'm going to do the same thing.
Great. Another question came in through a LinkedIn platform. And this deals with Neal mentioned too about COVID, how things have been changing a little bit, working from home more, not putting as much wear and tear on our tires. How do you anticipate things changing when the pandemic ends, whenever that may be? Will there be another new normal, or is this going to change things more permanently when that happens?
Well,
Dan, you want to start, or Neal?
I was just going to say my quick opinion on this is that yes, some of the tensions and some of the rigidness of the pandemic will lessen over time, but the thing that's going to last, I believe, is the convenience factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And so maybe explain a little bit. What do you mean by the convenience factor?
Yeah, so one of the biggest hassles for me, as working in an office, is getting my car to the dealer, getting my car to a tire dealer, or just in for routine service. And the whole time I was in the tire business, totally underestimated that, because my car was in the lot. I was there. It was a non-issue for me. And now that through COVID, now I can get someone to come pick up my car, or I can drop it off and not have to sit and wait on it. And I'm more protective, not only of my health, but I'm more protective of my time. So as all of these pieces, the curbside delivery and touchless, drop off and
Yes.
pickup, they're super convenient.
We can help you with that, Neal.
Exactly. So take COVID out of it, and I think it's still, it's working in the consumer's best interest.
What'd you just hold up there, Dan? What'd that sign say?
I can help you with that.
Ah, good.
Hey, by the way, this is a free gift to everybody watching. For everybody that picks up the phone, I don't care what the customer calls about. I really don't. You're in the service business, just declare to them, look, I can help you with that. I'm here to help you, period. That's the place to start from.
Yeah.
And that's a game changer. It really is.
Maybe in just a short nutshell, Jeff, since you're the inventor of, you can explain the TAPS app and TAPS Pay a little bit, and how that works into what we're talking about here today.
Yeah, so TAPS app is a way that we can, a system we designed, it's a digital system, works across multiple platforms. It's COVID proof because you can send the application to the consumer at home in their underwear or whatever. But we're not a processor, we're not a lender, but we help you gather the information from the consumer and then send it out to multiple lenders all at once, so that you get the approval rate you need to make the sales, and makes the ability at the counter for those guys not to have to tell people, well, no, you're declined or whatever. We're talking about a 90% approval rate with an average of $2,300 for everybody that walks through your door. So just think about the concept of how that would change the approach that your sales team goes out to meet someone thinking, hey, I've got some confidence that my financing and payment plan system can deliver 9 out of 10 people with $2,300 to spend in my store.
Great.
So,
and it's fairly easy to implement, I understand. Is that right?
it's if you already have existing lenders, we do include most nationwide lenders, a lot of nationwide lenders. So if you do have those lenders already set up for your locations, it's easy to set up, probably less than 10 or 15 minutes, and you're ready to actually use it. If you don't have lenders, of course, it takes a little bit to set the lenders up, and then you're ready to go from there. But it's really a plug and play if lenders are already established, and really less than 15 minutes to learn how to efficiently use the program.
Great. We're about out of time today. I think I'll turn it back to Dan if he has any final thoughts that you want to share, maybe about being a commitment-based company or anything else. And
I'm so excited about being here with my partners and with you and with Tire Business, but really we have actually have to jump now. We have a meeting right now with AAA, right? So I'm excited about that. And they're all over the TAPS app. And so this is like a tidal wave that's building. So I suggest my final, just sign up for a strategy session. If you're interested, we'll share all the details with you about what we're doing. It's very exciting stuff. Thank you very much, Joe.
Great.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks again, Dan, Jeff, and Neal for guiding us through all this, and to Molloy Sales Development Group for sponsoring this Ask the Expert from Tire Business. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out directly to the email address that's on the screen below to either Jeff, Dan, or Neal. I'm Joe Pryweller with Tire Business. Thanks for watching this webinar. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all.